when you've come in with EG before?
Slower, but they're still getting banned, so we'll see if that sticks consistent. Usually when there's a tiny patch like that, it's safer to just ban the hero rather than wait to feel them out and let people get games on you with it. A little surprised to see CM open so early, but it's decent at Zonian Centaur, just a lot of nuke damage output to keep them away.
No, that's a strange pick for me. I'm not too sure about CM, just especially like as an early pick. It seems kind of like maybe a weaker hero, but what I think about is like the mana aspect of Crystal Maiden. Like, what does Crystal Maiden bring to the game that another hero cannot? And that's like the only reason I could see them justifying an early pick. And maybe they want. I always think of like Storm Spirit as a hero that really needs some help with mana throughout the game. Maybe that's a hero that they look to play.
It's interesting to see whether they're going to be picking complementary.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
For something else that they want. These two teams play each other obviously a lot in China. All the Chinese teams have played each other an awful lot in the last two patches. Not 704 obviously having just come in, but the previous two before that. So they should, in theory, they should know strengths and weaknesses and kind of figure out where they're going with the draft, shouldn't they?
Yeah, they probably have practiced a bit. I don't know. I don't know how much the I think Chinese teams were the ones that kind of adopted like the whole like one best of 5 a day or maybe even like 2 best of 5s a day. So I don't know if these two teams are actually playing against each other too much. Is it? Do you know anything?
No, I haven't heard.
IGV and IG just kind of like play exclusively.
That's what I've heard, was that the two IGs play together and two LGDs play together, and that's pretty much what they do in terms of practice. But I know also, having spoken to a few of the players, that they have played in a number of teams, but mostly in qualifiers for something or other, whether it be Kiev, whether it be for here, whether it be for other tournaments. So
yeah,
I guess they've had a nice rounded experience, and they shouldn't really be caught out by anything. But we'll see. We've got a Kotl.
Another nerfed hero. 3.5 damage on average, lowered base damage.
One thing I do know about Chinese teams is that they talk.
They do talk.
They're not afraid.
Very loudly.
No. They talk to each other. They're not.
Okay.
They're not afraid to share.
I thought you were talking about the whole shouting stuff before the game starts.
They're not afraid to share scrim results. So if NewBee's up to something tricky, or if IGV has been playing like Crystal Maiden a lot, NewBee kind of perhaps already knows what's coming.
So they shouldn't be surprised even if we are.
Time to ban all the heroes that 2-shot Crystal Maiden in the mid game.
Was that Weaver gone?
Yeah, Weaver's rough. Also, the Slark and Weaver are two heroes that can lane up well against bad. Part of the reason why I think we saw the early bad pick is to potentially lane up against the Centaur throughout the game. Also, just having some hard lockdown for someone if they get Centaur ulted out. They can secure that kill early.
It's amazing to see Jug picked in the second round instead of the first. Does make it through. Did he get nerfed that much?
No.
He got the healing ward got nerfed again, or the gold it gives went up again, but that was about it, right?
He got a really small nerf, and that's the conspiracy, right? They released the new
the Arcana,
the new Arcana.
He's a dragon.
And Jug only got slightly nerfed when he was already like a top tier pick. So
he's also a Dragon Whisperer now.
True.
Yeah.
We should get Slacks on to complain about the lore.
He would as well, wouldn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can see him sitting in the wings already.
He would interrupt it.
Let me at him.
Didn't matter what we were saying, he'd interrupt us and instantly start complaining about lore.
Yeah, that puts Juggernaut dangerously close to Jakiro, which, by the way, I know I always say this at every event I ever turn up to. I really hope we see more Jakiro, because it's my favourite hero.
I thought Slardar was your thing.
No.
Was that?
No, absolutely.
That was Frankfurt Major.
That was Frankfurt because I hadn't seen it, and I wanted to see it more. It was Storm Spirit at TI5. I changed from everything.
But I'm just glad that
all last year it was
we got
Jakiro.
to figure it out early.
Yeah, all last year it was Jakiro, and we just very rarely saw it. I think Wings played it at TI, and that was about it. I think maybe NewBee. No, maybe Complexity played one. I can't remember.
Yeah, Complexity.
I think Complexity played one.
DC played it. DC played it at TI.
Oh,
was it DC that played it at TI? It was, wasn't it? The one pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one was fun.
So, in theory, it should be more relevant now. I don't want to take up the whole draft talking about Jakiro being relevant.
Nah,
but
it's
very
fine. This is your
situational.
hero. This is your moment. This is like we're in the drafting phase. We're talking about what heroes.
You should encourage us. This
we
is going
think they
to
might
be
pick.
first of 8 times.
He's
we'll
having
talk about
fun. I want to encourage him.
Do you want to talk about Jakiro 8 times over the next couple
it's going
days?
to be the whole
'Cause
day. Yeah, 3 times, 8 times a day, 3 days.
This
We've
won't
got
be
3
the
days
last
of this.
time.
Yeah, there's plenty of time to talk about Jakiro. Instead, we get Avenge.
A good anti-Bat Rider hero, obviously. You break swap. Could be core. Usually is better against Bat Rider as a support, though. But, they could go either way. It's decent against CM as well, because she's just dead if you swap her in.
Centaur is almost like a pseudo carry, right? Like he gets so farmed and so many items, and he does like teams are even playing with like a 1 position at one point, and like during the last patch. Where
You're talking about the return illusion BS?
Not even like he just farms so quickly.
Yeah, he does.
That teams were like really kind of like emphasizing a lot of farm on him, and then we were seeing all these ag centaurs with hearts and 4 staffs and blinks, and they were just like having such high impact throughout the game that they were almost like a core. So maybe having the core Venge kind of increases like his carry potential, but also like can justify kind of like the softer carry in Venge.
Yeah, there's some cool synergy between the two. He gets lots of strength items, so the Venge passive gives more, and the Wave of Terror increases return reflect. And
because Venge
ooh,
Coddle
there it is.
Yeah, Venge Coddle's now the super like.
Okay.
It's here. It's here,
so
guys.
we didn't get a chance to talk about this in the preview of the show. It was in our notes of things that we would like to have discussed at the start of the day. We didn't expect we would be flying straight into the start of the game so quickly. But Monkey King, for the first time ever, history being made right now. It's the first time it's been picked in an official tournament at a LAN.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Hero did get nerfed though. His level 1 slow
Twice.
is down to 30%,
Yeah.
and apparently you can hear it when he's channeling it nearby. But I haven't played a game against it yet, so I don't know how important it is.
You
Are
can
you
hear
gonna?
it channeling.
Yes, because normally
Really?
he'd be up in a tree.
Within what sort of vicinity?
That's the
Relatively
question.
close? Don't
That's
know.
the question.
Okay.
I don't know. I haven't played against it. That's one of those things where you have to know. So
Yeah.
if you can hear it coming, will you mind game it and dodge it? It's hard to say, but Ursa is definitely a good counter. Monkey King has one of the worst armors right now, base armor. So Ursa can definitely kill him within his ulti, as long as he's not getting like bashed. So I think Ursa's a pretty good solution here. It's good against Jug as well. I like the Ursa pick a lot.
Peter, what do you make of the new hero being picked? Expected?
It's fine. I think it's are people playing as 4?
Yeah, like a roaming, I
I
think
think it's
is
like
how
a 4.
we've seen it.
So it's kind of. I'm excited to see like what it'll do in like the later stages of the game. Seems kind of like a hero that falls off, but I imagine he's almost going to be like another carry at some point. Like he's still going to go like phase boots and right click.
Echo probably, yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty good against
You don't
Cobble
see him
too.
being used for anything other than 4?
I mean, it's harder now just because your base armor is so bad that you can't necessarily expect to live, and you kind of need like setup to make your ulti do good damage. So if you do put farm into him, it's sometimes inconsistent to make it work, and you have to get those like 4 hits in before your Jingu Mastery does enough damage. And that's the last time I'm ever going to say that one. That sounds so dumb. Another really crucial thing about IG's draft is they have 3 heroes that can have Arcanas, which is could give them the flashy edge in team fights. You
They'll
never
look
know.
good while they're dying.
They just might.
I like the Ursa pick, like you said, very good against Juggernaut. It's generally like how you wanna do your picks. NewBee doesn't have last pick this game, so IG is gonna have the opportunity to last pick either their mid or their carry, potentially a hero that can, help them win the game.
I like that a lot. Because
Very nice.
IGV has really weak lockdown right now, so even dealing with Ursa in the first place is going to be tough. And if they just have an Ember Spirit to also help with that, with like Searing Chains and stuff, I feel like it'll be really tough. Plus, they can kill trees really easy with Remnant.
Alright, so what do you
So
think?
there's a couple options.
Mid hero?
That has to be more lockdown.
New
sure.
carry hero? Shadow Fiend?
Against Ursa?
Sure. I mean,
He's an Arcana hero.
I mean,
He might be
I
on the
think
right
at
track.
this point, I think at this point you put your Juggernaut in the safe lane, and then
Yeah.
you just pick a mid hero that destroys Ember or like an Ursa, like a melee hero mid. You could do like OD, but like you said, there's not a lot of lockdown, so maybe pushing early and trying to like force the issue with the Juggernaut healing ward while you hit the towers with someone like a Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, that sounds
work.
okay. That could work. I just feel like
Kinda
NewBee's
tough.
going to run them down super hard. Like, if they don't have Lasso up, it's like Frostbite and Lasso,
Yeah,
and they're just going to charge them down and Chain Stun and Swap and Searing Chains from range. They do pick OD.
that's why I just think like the later the game goes, the harder it's going to be for them to deal with these cores.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. In terms of predictions, now you've seen the draft, Peter. Which do you fancy?
The team that was on the left.
IG.
Yeah, that.
Radiant Dire. I don't know. I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I don't remember which team was which. I was thinking left. I like. Actually, think I like the right draft a little bit more.
Right,
Whoever that was.
NewBee's draft.
That makes predictions.
I'm
a lot
into
easier.
NewBee.
These predictions are absolutely professionally brought to you. That is it from the panel right now in terms of the predictions. As you can see at the bottom, one for each, I think.
Yeah, no.
I don't even know if that's true because actually it's best of 2 anyway. So who knows which way it'll go. So we will head into our first match of the Dota 2 Asia Championships right now. And that means handing you over to our commentary team for the opening game. It is, of course, our wonderful duo of Toby One and Merlini.
Merlini, are you left or are you always right?
I like the OD team more.
The OD team, the IG Vitality lineup.
And they have the Monkey King.
They do have the Monkey King. I wasn't certain we were gonna see it straight up. Like when you have a new hero release, the captain's mode sometimes doesn't instantly appear because teams want to get a little bit used to it, learn how to play it, and make it
Dude,
work.
I'm still traumatized from it. From what I've heard from the Chinese pubs, Monkey King and Earth Spirit are first picked like every single game.
Oh, Earth Spirit wasn't even touched in this draft.
Well, he got nerfed a little bit, but I don't know. I remember that Doom phase, like Doom Earth Spirit phase. They always picked it every single game. I'm actually still traumatized from Monkey King. He was not as bad as pre-nerf Earth Spirit, but he was still pretty bad. If you were a support laning versus Monkey King, you just had the worst time of your life.
Well, I can't wait to see what it's like outside of the pub scene into a professional tournament on the level that is DAC to see how Monkey King is actually approached and played. And of course, they're doing it against a draft which is a little bit more standard. So NewBee lineup, it is very much NewBee. Like it's very much their standard kind of thing. Like we're looking at the KP Centaur. You've got your Rambi, you've got your Ursa. Maybe Ursa is the only thing a little bit more out of left field, but everything feels a lot more stock standard coming from the NewBee lineup.
Definitely so. Oh yeah, look at that Arcana.
Yeah, it's the red one too.
Yep.
It's the one that looks good.
I checked. He had 12 Omni-Slash kills.
Ah.
Just got enough to unlock it.
He's only had it for maybe today and already got 12. I kind of want to watch nice and closely too the Monkey King movement early on as well. So you watch that little yellow dot on your mini map to see where he'll end up heading to, and how are we actually looking for our laning phase as everyone is rather smoked up from NewBee. So where are they headed to? It's going into the Radiant jungle for now.
They're a little bit slow out too. Notice that they, I don't know, they like hesitated around that mid tower. Normally, if you're gunning for the bottom room, you just go straight through where the old secret shop used to be. But they will take control of that fountain and look to get an easy first blood. I do not think that Super is gonna die here though.
No, but they do have the advantage that the Dire Observer Ward placed on the top lane was just scouted out thanks to the earlier Radiant Observer Ward placed down by IG Vitality. So they were able to check out what's going on there. So that's a nice, easy pick off of the ward, and then the extra rune as well. So it's a nice start to the laning phase and vision game for NewBee.
I'm trying to get game sound, Toby. I don't know.
Are you?
I don't know if that bugs you. But
That it kind of bugs me a little bit, especially when we're going to be looking for Monkey King as well. So
yeah, Primal Spring, man.
I'm sure production will do that and also remove the nice little logo that's down on the bottom left corner covering up the minimap.
I completely agree that Monkey King needs to be a support, though. He is very difficult to make work as a core. He will get kills early and then just kind of fall off just because Jingu Mastery is flat damage, so you're not doing insane amounts of damage into the later game.
And this mid matchup, it's kind of like you expect to have what happens. Like KP's already taking a hell of a lot of damage on the bottom lane, pushing him back to the tier 1 tower. So a lot of harassment early on from the Juggernaut. Looks like he already burnt his level 1 spin too. And up on the top lane, that's where you actually commit the Monkey King. So you're committing both the Monkey King plus the Bat Rider up on top of this top lane. Dogfights and in July, trying to do something to keep U9 away from the creep wave if possible. But how do you do that when you're up against a Keeper of the Light? Like we've been seeing him picked up so much. He's the best like harassment in the lane if you can keep hitting those Illuminates.
Try best hero in the game, Toby.
That's a very NA way of looking at things.
I can't believe his nerfs in 7.04 or 3. It was just like mana leak a little bit. You don't even skill mana leak until like, I don't know, 8, 9.
That was the old build,
sometimes.
right? Like that was the old thing you did with him up against like off-lane Timbersaws. You just like mana leak and just harass him down. Now it's all about Illuminate spam.
Mm-hmm. I had this discussion before. What was the most broken hero in Dota? It's like unnerfed Earth Spirit, unnerfed Monkey King. Keeper of the Light right now, he's definitely not.
Keeper of the Light is like, if Winter was here, he'd be on the same level as he was with Ogre and Slaughter during Boston. The level of hatred towards these heroes. But personally, I love the Keeper of the Light. It makes for really entertaining mid-games when we see the Aghanim Scepter arrive, And you can see NewBee in the drafting phase too. They banned out the Night Stalker in the second banning phase. They didn't want to run the risk of having that advantage of both vision plus the heal taken away from NewBee. Because how do you do that? Like IG Vitality, their lockdown is, like they've got some good jump, but up against Ember, up against Ursa, how are they actually meant to get the kills on NewBee when potentially you've got a burst heal coming in plus the elusiveness ways of the NewBee lineup?
You don't have to kill them. You just have to kite the Ursa. I think that's why I really like the OD pick. It's just because Ursa, you don't want to get BKB pretty much ever. Usually you just want to be able to kill people as fast as possible. Basher, some sort of lifesteal for Roshan. And then usually if you want a defensive item, you get Ags. But Ags is kind of useless versus OD. If you enraged, you just get put under. And then after that, what do you have? No, you won't have anyone in melee range. You won't have your ultimate. And you kind of just have to run away. If you're running away as Ursa, it's never a good sign. And they don't have any good building hitters. I don't particularly like the combination of Ursa and Ember. Who's hitting your towers? The only hero that can hit your towers, probably your best hero is actually probably Centaur with the Keeper Ags behind you.
That's not exactly the kind of the approach you really want to have going into this game. Like up against a hero like a Juggernaut, who is always known as like that great level 1 pusher. Like level 3 pusher. The spin plus healing ward. You're going to take that damage and you're going to have something that stops it. But Keeper of the Light will be able to hold that at bay. So maybe this is more of NewBee approaching, what, a 50-minute win-style game against IG Vitality? Is that the better way to look at it?
I don't really like Ursa past, 35, I would say, especially versus this sort of Radiant lineup. But, it just kind of depends on how well Ember Spirit's able to control the game. I think he's going to be the hero that's going to be killing the healing ward, assassinating the heroes in the back, interrupting Batrider's mojo. It's kind of Ember Spirit's thing. Whereas Ursa, I think, is much more straightforward in terms of how you expect him to be played. So Dogfights is kind of deep in there. SCCC, his Flame Guard is out, but Dogfights now has that Jingu Mastery up. How long does that thing last now? It used to be infinite in terms of duration. It would just last forever. Now it looks like, what, maybe 30 seconds-ish? Didn't actually say in that tooltip.
Tooltip needs a little bit more updating.
But it was a little ridiculous that you could just hold it and then just wait for support and then just like hit them once, use your stun, and then they would just die. But he's getting there. It's almost off right now.
Alright. But we're definitely seeing, like, on that bottom lane, maybe that little bit of warning, like KP was able to back up before he heard Monkey King jumping in. Is he starting to clean out the trees with the Quelling Blade too?
I think it's definitely a good idea versus Monkey King.
Yeah, one way to stop him.
I wonder why the Ember Spirit's jungling this early. I see it sometimes. I'm not sure if he could have gotten more out of the mid lane. Maybe they just want Faith to absorb some experience dogfights. Still trying to look around for some heroes. Yeah,
it feels very odd, but now he actually gets a little bit of vision. But it's a level 3 Vengeful Spirit up against a very underwhelming Monkey King who gets scattered out by the Wave of Terror. So normally you look to have some level of vision up against the Monkey King, and Wave of Terror is just a very cheap and easy way to do that from the VS.
They have to be really careful about the tree situations. Trees, Quelling Blades, Swap breaks trees. You have the Firefly that breaks trees too. That's one of the worst things about playing Monkey King is when your own teammate knocks down your trees and you get stunned, which happens more often than you think.
Well, NewBee are bringing 4 players up to the top lane now. They had enough of either Monkey King bouncing around or any kind of posturing from IG Vitality's off lane. This gives a lot of space for Sakatara in the mid, as this OD just have, well, free roam, like farming in towards Midas. Nothing's really pressuring him. It's a very different change of pace. Like this roaming aggression, we've seen almost nothing come from the Monkey King.
He's been giving vision. That's one of the things. He gives the flying tree vision. Yo, flying vision is OP, Toby. It's OP, man.
But you're still looking at all the cores in all the lanes getting exactly what they want. Like the only difference we're looking at the moment is a little bit of a difference in the CS, which IG Vitality has a small advantage in.
I think you're okay with that if you're IGV, because NewBee they need to take the objective themselves. They don't have good tower hitters. They need to be able to hit Roche. They need to be able to do all these things. Monkey King.
He just fed First Blood on the offlane, so 409 gold goes the way of U9.
Not the start that you want to give an Ursa. Monkey King's also decent for Roshan contest because he does have that flying vision.
But at this point, when you start feeding something over like a early Dominator into that Ursa, you have a lot more issues even contesting. It may just be too strong for you to stop. Ember Spirit's not looking too healthy as well, dropping down low farming in the jungle. And he's being watched pretty closely. There's a Radiant Observer Ward that's seeing the movement here of SC.
The only hero that could interrupt him is the Monkey King, though. Monkey King just died, so he's...
What do you think of
okay.
SC's early build, too? Oh, hello. There's your flying vision. Jumping forward, but Kaka moves down. The Keeper of the Light, the old man. Is he blocked in by the creep? He'll actually break free now, but with the Omni Slash bounce back over, the sun is there. But the kill already goes the way of Paparazzi.
That's a kind of cool way to deal with the Keeper, though. Keepers generally just can hide in the trees and just spam Illuminate whenever, and having a Monkey King to be able to find him out is actually, it's a very good way to approach the Keeper. The problem is, sometimes you have like Clockwork that can jump on the Keeper no problem, but most of the time you have no idea where the Keeper is, or if you do, it's just too late, or you're gonna have to walk into a double Illuminate.
It's a pretty early triggering of the Shrine. I wasn't certain the VS was really going to do that. Obviously, that you also just displayed the lack of lockdown. Crystal Maiden comes in with a Frostbite and OD's there. You know, there's no other support because the Ember Spirit's already rotated to the bottom lane, and you still can't even kill off the Vengeful Spirit, who's now soaking up whatever Faith possibly can from the mid lane.
Yeah, Ember's been jungling an awful lot early. As you mentioned, he is going for a different build, the Blade Mail Rush on Ember Spirit.
Yeah.
You don't see that very often. Blade Mail, not the greatest for any of their heroes, I think. I mean, I guess
like
it's pretty good
who's
for
against?
CM.
Only if CM's going to be very like frivolous with her field.
I think he just wants to be able to run in there along with Ember Spirit. It doesn't directly counter any of Radiant's heroes. Normally you see it first, like, Gyro, SF, these sort of heroes that can't really do anything
NewBee.
about it.
They smoked underneath the Observer Ward when they did this, and they're hoping maybe with the Centaur it can tank enough, but In July is already on the mark. So level 4 Firefly triggers, they understand what's going on, and NewBee have to bail out.
Yeah, the Ursa immediately going for Roach. It was the first time he's been missing off the map. Sometimes you'll see Ursas play a little bit sneakily. They'll like go in the jungle for like a minute, and then the other side will kind of waste their time. It's like, oh, he's off the map, he's in Roche. But as you mentioned, like the really good Observer Wards placed by the Radiant side makes them very aware of Ursa's surroundings and location.
It's kind of surprising. Like, doesn't that limit you? Like, we were talking about Ember Spirit going into the jungle. Like, how does Ursa even play that then? It's like, oh, I'm missing for a minute inside the jungle while Ember's missing as well. Like, that's probably way too many warning bells being flagged. Faith, a little bit of trouble up on the top lane. In July does have that lasso, so he'll be dragging back the Vengeful Spirit back through the Firefly, and Faith, even with the Stampede, is unable to survive. KP TP's in, but now there's nothing he can really do. U9 is on the hunt, having a Hellbear with him, but they already got what they wanted, IG Vitality. The easy pick on the VS, the rotations from NewBee, and then bailing out without losing the Monkey King this time.
And they didn't get any value out of their first Stampede. Blink still not online for them. It just seems like NewBee is farming up the jungle a lot, which is generally okay, but I think the pressure is still going to keep mounting for them. They haven't been able to get Roche. They have no towers, and they're getting a lot out of the Radiant side. Juggernaut and Juggernaut OD very high in that CS chart.
And they need to have that Aegis Immortal so they can do something with it. But as you said, like, the Blink Dagger timing is what it's all about. NewBee normally give a lot more space.
Kaka's scared.
He's scared, but I think Dogfights also understands the sound effect. Like, Kaka's a long way back. So even with the stuns, Paparazzi, he's got the Omni Slash available and will commit it underneath the tower.
See, he can't do what the keepers normally do. You usually just sit back and spam out waves and delay the game. They wanna be able to stall this out so they can potentially sneak in Roche, but without the keeper
now
here,
Paparazzi, Faith with a swab is going to penetrate the Blade Fury, so Paparazzi has to go for a quick run, and Monkey King, oh no, it's Ember Spirit jumping in. Monkey King can't do anything, just bouncing down through the trees, but it's super underneath the tower. 4 heroes can take it up, but then a 3-man stun, but it won't stop KP. Able to hit both the Hoof Stomp and the double edge, ensuring the damage to get the kill on the Crystal Maiden, and NewBee turned this in to a heavy push onto the Tier 1 tower on bottom.
Yeah, and the Ember Spirit's pulling things together for them, and ooh, that was close. I'm not really sure what Dogfights is trying to accomplish over here. He has no mana for anything.
Like, can anyone even TP in to stop this? Like, Crystal Maiden, if she can TP, she doesn't have ultimate.
No, Jug just TP'd and got his TP canceled. So
And does he even really want to fight? Like, his Omni Slash is down.
No, not really. You just have to give up that tower. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Well, Sakata got a decent amount of damage onto the tier 1 tower in mid. In July is the neighborhood as well. He decided to go for the Tranquil's drums first, but the Blink Dagger is up for KP, so you've got the jump now for that Centaur.
I think they will be able to get this tower, though. NewBee weren't able to come in fast enough. The Centaur was the only one that TP'd in, and he just blinked out immediately because none of his team were even close by. Still a lot of time left on those TP scrolls. SCCC is in his backpack.
Have a quick watch of that bottom fight again. So Faith already with the interrupt, and then Paparazzi. It was just a straight run out, but SCC so quick on that rotation. Is that 2 for 2 as well? His rotation to the bottom lane. Got the kill earlier on when he jumped down there before.
Uh-oh, they know where Kaka is in July.
He wants to TP out. That ain't gonna happen. Very quick and easy kill for IG Vitality.
Dogfights keeping track of U9 in case he tries to do something funny. He doesn't have a TP scroll on him, though, so he's going to have to hoof it back. If he does even want to leave, KP kind of
does he
expecting
guess?
A movement over here.
Like, there's a TP. Okay, there's multiple TPs coming in. So KP, Stampede's available, so he's going to jump and get the hoofstop and double edge off. The OD Imprisoment's already holding in the Juggernaut, and they throw down the Monkey King ultimate. The Stampede will give them the speed to get out of it. However, KP will start to tick. Is there another stun available? Well, they do have it. It's the Crystal Maiden with the Frostbite, holding it down, but there's more support coming in. Faith as well as SC. SC's going to bail and leaves the Vengeful Spirit stranded on the wrong side of the river. But right to do so, all they need to do is just bail out of here. So another quick swap, very short range. And in July wants to keep going for more, but remember, he doesn't have that Blink Dagger. He went for the Drum Charge, which now comes back off cooldown. The Flame Break on Faith, who already has now 5 sticky Napalm charges. The Illumina will hit, but it's minimal damage. And NewBee will lose their Vengeful Spirit.
U9 has this blink. They were farming up the Ursa Blink in the meantime. So now with double blink initiation, perhaps they can get some prized kills.
Have to get
However,
another smoke. Like, can they get in and finally kill Roshan again?
I think they need to get kills before it, just because IG Vitality are doing a really good job of kind of moving around the map and keeping tabs of where NewBee are. Always threatening Roshan, and they have observer wards around the pit. OD's getting his items up, though. He has a 4-staff already to kite the Ursa and probably save someone from the Stampede initiation, too.
And here they go. They're slipping into the pit. So Roshan is U9 and Faith's job. So again, it was the two of them before. At the same time, it's almost a bit of a split attack because the other two heroes are smoked up and going towards the top lane. So it's SC as well as KP. So a quick hoofstop and double edge, combining with a Flame Guard and Searing Chains. There's just no way for the Bat Rider to run away, but he's just so tanky. The Bat Rider actually killing himself. It was the Blade Mail that was triggered. Takes so much of his life away. Dogfights in the neighborhood, and maybe he can help out Paparazzi, but when he misses the stun, he cannot help him out anymore. It's a bail. It's a runaway. NewBee are just moving down with the Blink Dagger. The Blinding Light actually pushed IGV into relative safety away from the Astral imprisoned U9 Ursa. Whoops.
Yeah, a little bit of a whoops. Not too big of a deal, though. OD, I think, would still be able to save himself in the meantime. They just gave up a lot there. They need to be able to fight around the Monkey King ultimate.
That's still a pretty damn good time for NewBee. Like, you don't lose a tower. You take out Roshan, so you got the Aegis Immortal for Ursa to do what he wants. Like, wait for your cooldown of Stampede to come back off, and you're looking good for the near future. Everyone continues to farm. The BTs are on the way for the Ember Spirit. And then this game becomes a lot more global push for NewBee. If they can get a little bit more farm to keep with the light, still sitting at 3.6k in the net worth at the moment.
They really need this Bat Rider blink. It's coming way too slowly compared to the Centaur blink. Actually complete the drums first before he did go for the Blink Dagger, so not the biggest deal for him.
And without those drums, I doubt he would have survived on the top lane as long as he did.
Radiant, as you scan, nothing's gonna hit. It's just south of this spot on the map. Wonder what Ursa's gonna go for. He has nothing in his quick buy right now. Basher is pretty good, I would say, versus the OD and the Jug, but we've seen a fair amount of Dezo, so they can actually hit towers. I do think he needs the Basher to stop the Astral and to be able to burst people down before they can pop their defensive cooldowns.
What about the ability to move around during the fights? You mentioned before, like, he's going to, like, we just saw the Desolator in the quick buy as well.
Yeah.
But you mentioned before, like, the problems about Aghanim Scepter. Is it worth going BKB or Aghanim Scepter as second, or as a third item?
No, not
Never?
until way late. Dude, second item BKB on Ursa is it's a no-go. If you do that, you've kind of already lost. Yeah, Dezo's way better for hitting towers, but you might go in the problem where you just get constantly kited. So, you know, it's a tough call, I would say, for the Ursa right here.
Maybe having to rely a little bit more on his support's faith to keep him in position, Stampede to allow for the extra movement speed as well.
Yeah, you are relying on the Centaur for the stun, and the VS is just not a reliable stun at this point, just because he's a support and he's not going to be able to get in there. I guess they have Mana Leak too. It's not that great, but Centaur's having a great game. He almost has his hood completed. He's only died once this game, so I'm sure he'll be able to provide the lockdown necessary for Ursa.
Waiting for this, U9 jumps in. He's looking for dogfights. They don't know exactly where he was. He got the Earthshock on the right position, but they didn't have any flying vision. Another reason why that Aghanim Scepter, which is 1,000 gold away for the Keeper of the Light, needs to be completed.
That is very, very bad for Monkey King. Because you need, when you get your ultimate off, you need items to be able to actually hide if you have flying vision opposite team. Normally you would just like use it and then pop in a tree or Shadow Blade or get glimmered or something like that so you can keep your ultimate up in that radius, but it's going to be very difficult for him to actually stay inside. Like Ursa will just pop his ulti and just run at you, and you might have to exit your ulti radius.
Yeah. We're going to see that issue like arrive a lot earlier, because obviously with the death of the tower, even that entire creep wave was hit by and killed off by the Illuminate. So Keeper of the Light should only be a couple of hundred away from completing it. But the man who actually picks up one of the most recently nerfed items, the Hurricane Pike, onto the OD.
You have to get it versus the Ursa. It's all about kiting the Ursa in this game. Going into the later game, I did not think they did a great job of controlling the Roshan at that one fight where they gave up a few heroes and the Roshan. After that, they've had to play on the back foot. I would say that IGV had a very, very solid early game, but now NewBee in the firm lead. Ursa still hasn't made a purchase yet. I guess he's kind of still waiting to see what he needs. Centaur going for Blade Mail, so it's a double run at you. Item build. Monkey King also doesn't care too much about Blade Mails because he lifesteals so much off his Jingu Mastery that Blade Mail's like, yeah, you're still taking more damage than I am. It is pretty good versus the OD until OD gets BKB.
Yeah, because how is OD meant to stand the fights and just start dishing everything out?
Healing Ward, possibly.
That's only going to do so much.
Yeah.
But this kind of initiation is a bad thing for IGV. So quick jump in, you go on Faith, your straight up counter, which is the Vengeful Spirit. Blinding Light's not really going to stop the attack from coming. And with the death of the Vengeful Spirit, now IGV feel comfortable enough to take the Tier 1 tower on top lane, but they're losing out on the bottom. The Tier 2 tower is being pressured. That's why we may have already had that earlier TP in from the Monkey King. He jumped down to the Shrine, but KP's just creep skipping it out. So they try and bring in more support. A quick Stampede, missing the stun. KP, with the bonus movement speed he had from his ultimate, was able to dodge it and then let the Ember Spirit do the work. Getting both paparazzi and dogfights to come down means that Tier 1 tower is still not claimed on the top.
Yep, and Keeper's already there. Still pretty healthy amount of HP on that tower. That was a very, very good move by KP, trying to slow down this tower push.
And he's got his Ags too. So with the BTs on the Ember Spirit can just jump down, like enjoy being part of those fights, and then instantly be dragged back into where the farm is on the Keeper of the Light.
Oh man, that's another way to break down trees. Poor dogfights, man.
Hey, they wanted to pick a Monkey King into this.
They have an Observer Ward, but no vision yet. I mean, there's no reason for them to really play super aggressively right now. They could easily hit. They could just wait for daytime if they wanted to.
Mana Leak plus getting hit by the first wave of terror, the stuns. The Mana Leak is still not going to do enough. As now the damage returned is going to go into super. 3 heroes together. Ember Spirit goes in as well, but the lasso is just not enough work. The Ursa gets killed off pretty quickly.
He just got Sanity's Eclipse. I believe he still had the stolen int from the Venge kill earlier, and then just demolished that Ursa.
Sitting at plus 16 at the moment.
You have to get Hurricane Pike though on the OD just because of the you get free int with the first Hurricane Pike. Normally you have a hero that like gives you vision, slaughter, or something like that, so you can actually hit them.
There's so much movement as well, having both the Blink and the Hurricane Pike already completed on OD.
Yep. That was some hate for Super though. Super just got swapped in. It's like, oh god, I'm Crystal Maiden. What do I supposed to do here? He didn't even skill his ultimate, surprisingly. That ultimate's pretty good, I would say, especially in combination with the Monkey King ulti. You do not want people leaving that field, but at the same time, they have Stampede, so you can kind of just run out. That's what you got to save the Boundless Strike for on Monkey King, I think.
Well, T1 Tower will fall up on the top. Everyone goes back to their farming kind of world. As it looks like Earthspirit is looking at the Aghanim Scepter as his second major item.
Ursa Spirit?
Did I say Ursa Spirit?
I think he said Earth Spirit. What? What? Yeah.
Ursa.
Yeah, he needs that. He just died in the lasso last time.
Yep.
So, normally you'd have Glimmer or something to help him out.
Do
Solar, I think, would be really good for Revenge this game.
Do you actually just turn it around and say, like, hey, KP, man, you've got to be the one to initiate. Always save the VS swap to get the Ursa out. Because it's kind of a harsh thing to do, I know, when Ursa's already getting kited.
Ursa's generally like pretty self-sufficient in terms of being able to survive. You pop your ulti preemptively, you have Aegis. You're playing with Aegis a lot of the time.
Oh, Kaka. Can't run anywhere. Not when he's frostbitten up, so Stampede doesn't help him. That gets burnt down on bottom lane. Paparazzi goes for the spin, but a quick jump away from SC. Well away from the fight.
I think now as Centaur, you actually kind of have to think twice about getting the Axe. It used to be 60% damage reduction, which is just insane. Now 40% is, I mean, it's pretty good, but like you might need other items to actually help you control the fight. Like maybe you want, I don't know, like a Shiva's Guard. Actually, you probably don't want Shiva's Guard this game. Maybe you want some other items to help your team out a little bit more. Complete your pipe.
5-minute smoke run.
Get a heart.
They're going to find him pretty easily over towards the left. It's just a quick pick on the Ursa. It's kind of funny considering it was U9 who was posturing first, looking at the kill onto the OD, but never found his opening before. The Observer Ward's now deep inside of NewBee's jungle. They got no way they can just easily farm and do whatever the hell they want to anymore.
They shouldn't be farming, though. They need to be fighting and controlling the roads. They have the Alpha Wolf already in there, but they have to be able to snowball off these Aegises. If not, it's almost primarily just going to be SCCC.
But it seems like contradiction of items too, right? Like if they are farming and then you get, like they just finished the second blade mail, so you got it on both Centaur as well as Ember, and you're not going into the engagements. And it's IG Vitality who are the ones coming in force with the 5-minute.
Yeah, and it's daytime now. Maybe that's what they were waiting for right now. Yeah. But they were definitely quite hesitant before daytime hit.
I still wonder though if NewBee are in a bad position. Like with Ember and Keeper of the Light, they can keep this game going for a very long time.
They're in a bad position, Toby.
Really? You gonna say that?
I think so. Yeah, Ursa is
like this isn't an Ember Spirit that's getting easily picked off in the later game. Like
Ursa getting later. I would just dread being Ursa in this game. Like you can't get solo picks this game just because I think that IG Vitality have had way better vision with the Monkey King. Yeah, he's not super farm, but he's still like super annoying. He's always in lanes. He's like being able to push out the lanes. He dies, but he's a support, and he's actually like doing better than the Keeper in pushing out the lanes and not dying, I would say. And his stun is still useful throughout the game. Then,
but if you look to the later game, OD versus Ember, who do you still back on that one?
You got to. I think the Jug is really getting out of control too. And I think it's mostly like OD plus Jug versus Ember plus a half. Ursa I would consider half just because I think he is going to get kite a lot and has died quite a few times. The first Aegis got completely squandered. And then
we'll see what they do with the second one, as NewBee have managed to claim that. It was a lot better zoning this time. They came with everyone. It wasn't just the split kind of thing, and so no pick off to slow down the attack. And having that easy blinding light, IG Vitality could never get down from the ancient area. So a quick smoke, and they're definitely not wanting to squander it. This is NewBee on the hunt, looking for a kill, but IG Vitality reading it well as well. The only person out in danger right now is the Juggernaut.
Juggernaut's fine. He has spin and he has Manta style, and he's also well equipped to deal with the Ember Spirit. He can just defuse with the Ember Spirit, get rid of his Flame Guard, and force him to play on the defensive immediately, I would say. And he also doesn't care that much about Blade Mail. Omni Slash, you're invulnerable. Spin, you don't take any damage because you're magic immune, so that's great for him.
Well, they're running up. They see Paparazzi, Hoof Stomp, double edge, and then just a full-on attack onto the Juggernaut. Didn't want to give him any time to spin or do any kind of counter.
Yeah, that is one of the situations that you just have to have your finger ready on the spin at all times if you don't see anyone on the map. And Centaur, he has a fairly long cast points. Like a lot of Rubiks will be able to lift the Centaur before he actually stops. And spin being lower cast points than telekinesis should be able to spin, especially in an important kill like this. They're able to push high ground, and he might be forced to buy back because of this.
Yeah. Not the money he really wants to expend, but maybe with the stuns from dogfights, you keep him at range, just slow him down. And they are going to have to use their fortification. So 14 seconds until Juggernaut is back up and running again. OD is only going to now just start to TP himself back. He was up at the secret shop.
Ooh.
And NewBee are going to let it go.
Yep.
They did some good damage.
They used the Monkey King ulti to stall them out. It's kind of like using Shadow Shaman wards just on the high ground. It's like, well, or Darkseer wall. You're not going to get any damage out of it, but are you willingly going to walk into that?
Probably not. Not when he's... I don't know if he's actually finished it or not. He's getting closer, but that Basher build is on the way, so he's looking for more control out of it.
You don't see that many monkeys forego the Echo Saber, but he's actually lowest on the CS and one of the lowest on net worth, so probably just opting to go for a more useful build. Echo's, I think, better if you're a little bit further ahead, like mid-range in the net worth.
He's just had no time and space, and if IG Vitality, if this continues when NewBee just keep them pressured, and on the Radiant side of the river,
Oh, they have an Observer wall right there. Don't smoke under to the Observer. Okay.
they see so much. They actually see the Observer too. So the Observer will go down, and NewBee, yeah, they're having second thoughts about this.
It's nighttime. A little push, a little pull here and there, depending on the time of day.
Well, a perfect Observer wall again from NewBee. GV runs straight over the top of it.
They only have 2 towers down right now. I thought that IG Vitality were better in the tower situation, but the current tower count is 5 taken down for NewBee and 2 taken down for IG Vitality. But you're pushing a T1 into an Ags Keeper. It is not going to be easy for you at all, and they have recall if they want to bring SEC back, or he has BOTs, or he has Remnant, and I think your towers are going to take probably a fair bit more. They're already TPing back with the OD.
Oh, that Observer Ward got taken out pretty quickly. And that was a fresh Observer Ward planted, so they know that Monkey King was over on the tree line. And IG Vitality understand this is a bad idea. They're already out. Juggernaut's back to farming up on the top.
Oh, it's definitely a bad idea. Ursa having Aegis and pushing into Keeper like that is just not going to happen for them. It's also just way too close to the shrine.
So you're in IG Vitality's position right now. Like you were saying before that IG, like they look good to go into the late game here.
Yep.
So are you happy to accept the status quo? Just stay on the defense, understand you're going to be massively split pushed?
As long as you don't give pickoffs like they just did. They can't have the Jug die first in the fight. They're going to be at a disadvantage for the vision, almost certainly, just because of Keeper during the daytime. So they just have to be really quick with their responsive, like defensive Astral, defensive Force Stab, defensive Spin, quick Lasso from Bat Rider. They just have to be faster and better in the team fights. As long as you're comfortable with out initiating them and outplaying them in the team fights, then yeah, because a NewBee is just not terribly easy for them to siege. And like something that you'll see often the ODs do. OD is actually surprisingly good at the high ground defense too, because you can like Hurricane Pike them away and steal a good amount of int, like 20 int before the fight starts, and just drop some hammers on people.
Goodbye Monkey King. Exploded on the bottom lane. KB didn't have to use his ultimate for that, but he probably would have revealed the fact he has the Aghanim Scepter up and running. Yes, it got nerfed, but it's still good.
Heroes.
But look at the support. Everything comes in. The swap is there from Faith, so Paparazzi Omni-Slash, but hits most of the illusions, and they do as much damage with the extra lockdown. Lasso keeping him in place. Crystal Maiden lets the ulti go as well. Will this be enough damage? Super SC, he's ticking down quickly. He jumps away. He'll still end up going down to the Firefly of In July. But with the Ember Spirit down and the Juggernaut still up, U9 has to go on that run. That's that instill you're talking about. And in July, back to front lines. Faith just gets exploded by KP with the double hoof stomp, holding both that OD and Batrider in position. With the OD imprisonment, they're making the odds a lot better here for IGV, throwing down the ulti. U9 almost dead when he came back into the world of the living, and then instantly was dead. KP wants out, but he will not get his wish. All 5 heroes from NewBee are lost. IG Vitality, they live with so many heroes.
Man, the support play from IG Vitality was fantastic there. Realizing that NewBee, they wanted to kill the Juggernaut again, just like last time. They set a Reservoir Ward down preemptively. I think Super had a really big freezing field right there, killing SCCC. That was huge. But notice everyone's already there. There's like 3 heroes already there for IGV to come in right after that. There was a really nice healing ward micro by him too, making sure that it didn't die. It's super important. He keeps it behind the tree during the entire time. And of course, like Unite, he has to use his ulti defensively right here as he's running away so he doesn't get bursted down. But you're still giving OD a ton of it, and he just gets demolished. I don't even know how hard that Cindy's Eclipse hit for, like 1,000, I would say, right there. Maybe even more.
It looked pretty damn powerful, and it meant NewBee just not in the right place at the right time. They're falling behind. The OD now sitting around 19,000 in the net worth. Ember Spirit will obviously keep up, but the rest of NewBee are going to struggle to find openings on the map, and with the Lincoln Sphere pickup, at least the Ember is a lot safer with his split push now. And the vision game is going to get better for NewBee. That Gem of True Sight over on Kaka, combining up with his Aghanim Scepter, IG Vitality keeping vision up will be very, very hard.
Got to win the team fights, though.
You do.
The team fights are getting dicier and dicier. Lincoln's is great for the split push, but in the middle of a team fight, it's just going to be taken off by so many different things. You can just get Omni, Diffusal, and all these sort of things that aren't not that big of cooldowns.
No, Dogfight's actually backing off from his... Actually, did he finish the Basher? I think he finished the Basher.
He just got it.
Yeah. Because he had the Gem of True Sight in his quick buy, but I didn't see the rest. I didn't see the last Javelin. KP, quick pick. This is a good one if they can take out the OD. Dogfights brings in the stun. Faith trying to land his own, but then you got the Monkey King ulti down the lasso. It holds in U9 just after he committed the ultimate. The swap will be there, creates a little bit of space. Super dying to the Blade Mail of SCC. They knew that was going to come eventually, but still they haven't locked him down yet. Crystal Maiden will buy back. KP and Dogfights so close. The OD and the Ursa are the casualties of war. KP will make it a second, killing off that Monkey King with the Blade Mail trap, protecting the Paparazzi into the spin. They want KP slowed down. The Flame Break a little bit too high, but you got the Frostbite. That'll cancel off the stun of the TP of KP, so he's forced to stay in the engagement. But SC, the Blade Mail is up once again. Paparazzi just wants to run away from this one. Maybe he can. Up the side of fist. The Urn will tick him out from Faith. So this time it's NewBee who are winning the team fight. In July, back into the relative safety of his home, under the cover of his own shrine.
They realized the big problem is the OD. OD actually was not able to escape to the shrine. Some of the IGV members tried to drag the fight a little bit to the east so they could pop the shrine. I think it was mostly the Juggernaut, but they were not able to heal up the OD from that initial burst from the Centaur. And they actually staggered their cooldowns quite well. The last fight, they had to use so much to try and save themselves from the Omni Slash. They had to use the Stampede. Oh, no.
The Blade Mail's up. In July knows. Like he's trying to stall this up so Juggernaut doesn't have to use his buyback, and NewBee doesn't want to attack the mid-racks.
He just wasted lasso, though.
Yeah.
No big deal.
But you do keep your mid-racks alive. You make it so that Juggernaut doesn't have to fall behind in net worth. You're going to lose the third Roshan now to NewBee. There's very little that can stop that. And after that, protecting your shrines like outside of the base of IG Vitality also can become very problematic, because you're fighting into both Aegis and Cheese without your ultimates up yet.
They don't have a good defensive save, though. I think that's one of the big issues for IGV's lineup. Like, OD gets jumped, and then what? You have to like BKB and run away, and you still can't be stealing the intel. For NewBee, they have this like 5,000 net worth Revenge, who doesn't care. If your hero is getting jumped on, you can defensively swap, you can Blinding Light, you can pop your Ags Stampede on the Centaur, and your cores feel very, very safe here. Whereas the OD and the Juggernaut, they have died a lot in a lot of these fights, and there's not really too much the supports can do about it.
Yeah,
they don't have any Glimmer
their
Cape.
save is the AoE ulti for Monkey King, and that's not a consistent thing anyway.
That is not.
It's a zoner, that's all. Like, you got 2 zoners, and one of those dies straight to the Blade Mail.
Yeah, I might have actually preferred like some more defensive builds from the IGV. Like the Basher is nice, but 3,000 gold is a lot for a support. I would prefer like a Solar Glimmer combo. I would especially say for these like big cores that are like mega farmed. You want to make them as tanky as possible, and Ursa doesn't do well versus Evasion, and then Ember doesn't do well versus Glimmer Cape. So I think I would prefer to see this combination from the supports. But they're struggling for gold.
IG Vitality have to make do with what they've got. The BKB is now over on the Batrider, so life becomes a little bit easier for him when he wants to jump in for those big initiations, and IG Vitality definitely need that. drag NewBee out of position, and with the lasso control followed up by Frostbite, make it so that KP's ultimate doesn't do anything. And you can see KP, okay, you might see KP being initiated on in just a second. The Ember Spirit was the one to jump in forward, and U9 focusing down the Monkey King. There's no ulti from him, but U9 has taken a fair chunk of damage with the bash and the slow. Crystal Maiden has to keep him slowed up as well. U9 on the run out. The Illuminate's going to fly in just a second, but doesn't hit any of his targets, and in fact it's Sakata. He's the one that drops the ulti down, so the Vengeful Spirit's down. U9 will come back to life again. The Frostbite holds it there, but KP tries to create more space with the Hoof Top and Double Edge. The push up, OD has to defensively imprison while the Omni Slash does minimal damage. They lasso and control up U9. He is going down. Paparazzi needs to be the man up right now. NewBee, they still want the kill, or can they get it? Super TP's out, leaves his Juggernaut alone to spin and TP as well. OD will have buyback, and we'll see if NewBee have enough strength to keep the push going.
It's so tough for the OD in this game. He has to do so much to try and save his team. Super almost got a pretty good ultimate off there for them that fight.
He's getting close to that Glimmer Cape you're asking for.
Yeah, the Centaur is just being ridiculous.
Once he has that heart, like, they don't do anything against KP.
Yeah, you can just run in there and just not be scared at all. If OD tries to hit him, you just pop your blade mail.
Is there a way IG Vitality can get just a better initiation? Like what we saw up on top lane, the Ursa was looking for initiation, doesn't happen, then IG Vitality, they quickly smoke up, they read the timing when NewBee just back off a little bit and then find the openings instead. Like, this type of initiation seems to be the best, so it's just obviously the Aegis Immortal that turned this fight in the favor of NewBee.
You have to control the Centaur, though, if you want to get a good jump. If you don't jump the Centaur, he pops his ulti, albeit nerfed. And then you can just turn around after IGVs like Blinks and BKBs are down, which is kind of what they did there. So, but do you really want to jump the Centaur? It's 3,500 HP as of this fight with a Hooded Defiance. So I think I'm not exactly sure how they approach the fights. I think you just need a lot of int on the OD and be able to pop his, be able to save his BKB.
Is there Gang Squad possibilities maybe when the Ember Spirit does his split push? Like, you look for him. I know it's a hard lockdown to get.
I don't particularly like that just because I think you're going to have to commit so many resources that, like, if they really want to, they could just buy back on SCCC and come back in for the fight. I do not think tackling the Ember Spirit is the right approach here, especially before the Scythe. Maybe once they get the Scythe on the OD, you can, like, blink and then Force Staff and then Hex him and then kill him, and then it's a super easy kill where you don't have to expend that much. But as of right now, it's a little bit too much for him.
Well, you are seeing the other lockdowns on the way, so Paparazzi, as we go for the head-to-head against U9, working his way in towards that Basher, and then the guaranteed lockdown that comes from Abyssal Blade. Ursa, of course, already having his Basher, and with his very fast attack speed, it's going to cause a lot of problems for the Juggernaut. So we'll see who can really pump out the most amount of that melee damage when it comes to the fights.
I agree. A lot of this fight depends on how well they can control the Centaur. Centaur, you have to be able to stop his blink during the fight. Like, you just have to constantly kite him with, like, I think Flame Break's probably one of the best ways to deal with the Centaur and stop his blink from coming off cooldown. That's the only damage over time that they have on their lineup.
Short pause as we'll wait for the internet just to balance itself out a little bit more. So we're hitting that 40-minute mark. Is NewBee heavily on the clock?
No, because OD was way ahead on net worth. He was like 3,000 or 4,000 ahead.
So the fact you've dragged him back now means that NewBee's split push is
well, and
more
also
doable?
they've versus Centaur or the Ursa.
Yeah, because they're the primary initiators, right?
Yeah, I think you just
like it would stop the Vengeful Spirit from at least controlling him, but the VS hasn't been the primary starter on the OD.
Yeah, it's been the Centaur. Centaur just dumps him every single time he can, and as he should be. And then you just pop your blade mail, force him to pop his BKB, and then just kill him with second blink.
It's kind of good too when you look at the builds. Like, we've seen a lot of refresher or builds coming out in the Centaur, but in KP, the way he looks at this game, And I think the panel was saying about it before, where you look at him more as like this bigger core than the rest of the team. And he will be doing a lot of work in this game, and staying alive with that heart means you'll always get that ulti off in the fights. So we're back in again, rolling forward. So
Yeah, I think they actually probably need a refresher soon on the OD though. I think he needs 2 BKBs in the fights.
But he needs the Scythe of Ice first.
Yeah, he needs both.
And then he doesn't have really, like, where does your item slot go?
Sell your Midas.
Like at the next point, well, that's still where your Scythe's gonna fit in.
Also, if they can just prevent them from having the Aegis in the fights too, but you lose the first Roche, you lose that big fight, and then that kind of guarantees a couple more Roches for NewBee. If they didn't have Ursa for the respawn, I think they would have crushed that fight.
Yep.
But they can just tank through Sandy's Glyph. Yeah, we'll just expend an Aegis for that. No big deal.
So that's the next point. Keep vision up around Roshan. Good luck against Keeper of the Light.
They've just lost so many fights and just given up so many free Roaches. There hasn't even really been a Roach contest this entire game.
That
from
first one where the
IGV.
Bat Rider flew over and NewBee just backed out. That was
It's
it.
hard.
That was the
It's
one.
like, hey, we scouted you. What's up, guys? Don't do this under our watch, and then they just leave.
Really good for it. I was always a little bit disappointed, but the reindeer style cuddle is always nice. And our wonderful Monkey King first time reveal support. Hasn't been that terrific
No
so far.
Arcana, dude.
No, yeah.
You know he's not serious about the hero. There's no Arcana, man.
Yeah. He's going for BKB next after having the Basher.
BKB's nice.
I just
You
thought
can
you'd
actually
look
just
at
not fall over in the fight. Ursa has to hit you. You don't really want to have to hit a Monkey King as an Ursa. You want to hit the OD or Jug or Bat even.
I don't know. I just would have thought like some other level of support item would have come in as opposed to the I can stand.
He's
and fight.
he's already committed to not to being his own damage dealer.
Okay. Awesome. Well, I'm sure we can pass that information on to our viewers. I know we're going to have some crossovers, but we can tell you if you are watching on the second stream, because we're running 2 streams at the same time, OG just won their first game. So that if you want to go check that one out, you can go to, I think it's PGL_Dota2 is the place to find that stream. But of course, you can watch everything from Group B here on the first stream, and Group A is on the second stream.
This game is back underway. So
Thank you for that.
Who had the cheese? I guess it was actually used in the last fight.
I thought I saw the cheese sitting on the Ember Spirit at the last fight.
Yeah, not on him anymore. They have the Solar Crest on Vengeful Spirits. You see? You have to get a Solar Crest, man. That item is so good now. I think you actually almost have to get one.
Solar Crest, protect me! Vengeful Spirit dead very quickly, so it comes straight back from the pause, and there's IG Vitality, who are the ones to spill the blood. And you can see what they're checking. They're checking into the big man pit, but it's not up for another 2.5 minutes at the earliest.
Yep, not even close.
But we'll see what objectives they can get from that. Like, okay, the mid lane's pushing in, but Kaka is there to try and defend it. You don't have your lasso, so you don't have that initiation anymore. And everyone's just getting scouted out. That dive vision is just unbelievable with Kaka.
SCCZ is hitting bottom tower, but there are no creeps. So now they have to defend.
Yeah.
Kill a hero, can't get anything.
Now, this is where the split push just causes so many headaches for Vitality. Ember Spirit on one side, yeah, you don't hit the buildings, but you force the return. Top lane was pushing in as well, so a lot of issues for Vitality where they just have to stop the leakage first before they can actually start pushing back into NewBee.
On top of that, they don't have the shrines to TP to. No shrines available for IGV outside their base. And
when you see BTs then appear,
you just have to be able to pick off the heroes that are split pushing, and that is where the Scythe of Ice comes in. But right now, Sakata not in a good position. He's almost at a Scythe of Ice, but he doesn't have buyback. You really want to go in a fight without buyback, and if you die, you will just lose the game. But if you don't have the Scythe of Ice, you might not be able to actually get to a team fight ever, because they'll just kind of keep you in check with a keeper until they get the Aegis and Cheese, and then just run at you.
it's a nice upgrade for now, the OD to have. You're talking about the importance of the OD holding the higher ground and keeping that intelligence stolen. Now gone for the plus 60 talent. So plus 60 seconds for the talent steal. This means that IG can keep fighting over time as well.
Smoking for Roche, but it's a minute before, and they're setting Paparazzi up in the mid lane by himself.
It seems a little baitish.
You would expect them to be behind or wrapping around to the south side, and Centaur is kind of just up there. He's like, I don't really care if they go on me. I have 4,200 HP and a heart.
To the right, this is a nice little one. Can potentially just cliff him, but okay, they drop the ulti. They're stealing the intelligence. KP, he wants to get out. No, he won't. The Omni Slash is going to be right on top of him. 85 seconds down. Faith Safe will not be able to function here. And that is NewBee losing to no buyback on the Vengeful Spirit, but once again, they're bleeding on the side lanes. SC is attacking into the tier 3 tower. Someone must come back to defend this.
Sakata has so much intel, though. He has plus 48 int, and he just picked up the talent, too, so it should be up for the Roshan fight. Centaur being down is a huge deal. That's a really bad sign for NewBee that the Centaur died quite quickly. He popped his ulti at, like, maybe, 25% or something like that. So they were able to get a good 3,000 damage on him before he could do anything about it. And Kaka checking out Roche. Manta Illusions in there. It's going to respawn in 30 seconds, which does coincide with Centaur.
And this is that time, too, when you look at NewBee, and I think it's one of the primary reasons, too, why KP gets a lot of flack. When NewBee put a lot of money and, like, basically time into his heroes. He's such a critical point. And
if you're Centaur, you don't really think you're going to die right there, because he's just been super tanky and up in their face all game.
But we saw IG Vitalities. They don't have a lot of lockdown time, but when they do have that time, they can just rip you apart. Yeah. U9 learned that lesson about 30 minutes ago on the top lane.
It was also a weird time to smoke, though. You don't expect them to smoke seven minutes after the Roshan died, because they didn't get anything out of it. Yeah. Even if Roshan were to respawn at 8 minutes, they still wouldn't have gotten anything out of it, because Keeper already controlled the pit. And now they're in the same position.
They go again.
They still have the intel on the OD, so that's like 500 more damage with the ulti. So it is no insignificant matter.
He doesn't have it, though. It's a minute on cooldown for that Eclipse.
Oh, he used it on Centaur? Wow.
Yep.
That's not
That's what they threw down in that fight. That was the way they actually killed off the Centaur.
So now they will finally contest Roche. This is Roshan number 4, and Aegis and Cheese could mean the death of IG Vitality. They do have the Scythe. OD also has buyback, so quite fortunate for him that he was able to get that amount of gold. I'm not sure if he did actually get the kill on the Centaur. Looks like it was Paparazzi that finished him off.
I'm wondering if Monkey King now just becomes that permanent ward around Roshan. He's got the trees to play around with on the back of the pit.
It's too risky.
Yeah. But you got no other choice, right? Like, he still needs to stay close enough that he can get in and throw the ulti out.
Manta Illusions. Yep. It's going to be what they want, but both teams kind of afraid to go outside the pit. He has this team around him, though.
Yeah, this feels like bait. Just trying to see if IG Vitality will take it and realize the shields are up.
No way you go on Centaur there. He will just get swapped out and he will get demolished.
Yeah. The Paparazzi just hovering around. And again, here comes a split push. Remember, you can just BT down to the bottom lane, keep that pressure going. Ember Spirit is difficult to kill with both the Lincoln Sphere, plus his ability to dodge with Sleight of Fist.
And are they going to smoke around? They don't actually have a smoke. They're just going to hoof it the long way around.
It's already vision, though. Like, it's only Radiant Observer wards on that side of the Roshan pit.
Wow.
So they actually do slip through the back lines.
Are they going to control the shrine? They're going to get there.
Oh, there's Ember Spirit jumping in. SC, they want to go on him. A quick jump out. KP gets a double hoof stomp on the Juggernaut as well as the OD with a sleight of fist. They'll turn on their blade mails now, but with the ultimates, will it be enough? Faith is just burning out with the Omnislash doing his work, but the damage is still so heavy on IG Vitality. The Shrine has already been burnt. Illuminate Spam's giving a little bit more sustain, but the BKB is going to wear off too. SC jumping in and out, chasing the OD. He throws the ulti down, but ends up killing himself. I think it was the Blade Mail. He just killed himself on Paparazzi. Won't survive as well. 3 heroes lost. Dogfights on the run. You got the Barrow Rider desperately trying to force in the top lane to get NewBee to look behind themselves. But now NewBee can go in for Roshan if they want him.
That was a really good move by IGV, though. They were just super unfortunate that Ember Spirit came in just at that exact moment, or else they would have claimed the Shrine, and they wouldn't have been able to pop that Shrine. Because Ember Spirit was there, Centaur was able to jump in on them afterwards, but they didn't have vision over there. It was still nighttime, and I think that was actually one of the better moves that I've seen from IG Vitality. And yeah, it ended up in 3 heroes dead, but it could have been great. Could have been great.
And so IG Vitality, again, they have to fight up against an Aegis as well as a Cheese. And we'll see if they're capable of defending it. With OD's ulti on cooldown, NewBee have an opening just to push down through the mid lane. There's no tier 3 tower, so they can attack directly in, and we'll get to have a quick look at this fight once again. There's that double hoof stomp that really started off nicely for NewBee.
Yep, and you're fighting right on the Shrine, and Centaur is just in the middle of it all. BKB's popped at the start, and OD doesn't actually make it down with his own Force Staff / Hurricane Pike, and they weren't able to pop the Centaur ulti too. Omni Slash just really did not do anything in that fight.
Well, we'll come back live. The OD has bought back already with the BKBs, has to stand his ground, a defensive imprisonment, trying to help keep that Monkey King alive as NewBee will start to bail out. So they did manage to take out the tier 3 tower on the bottom lane, but no Raxing still done by NewBee.
And no buybacks forced out.
Just to the OD.
Oh, he
OD
bought back?
I believe so.
Oh, he had like 10 seconds longer than the Juggernaut on his buyback. I guess he really values that 1 Rax.
Ended up committing it.
That is not good at all. They still have the Aegis, they still have the Cheese, and you kill OD, is game over.
I'm wondering what happens too when an OD's BKB starts getting lower. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there was a Bloodthorn which is being built over on the Ember Spirit. So you got more lockdown control on the way from him.
They're in a really bad spot because of the buyback now. So anytime the next, 6 minutes now, you kill OD, it's game over. And it's daytime, so these 3.5 minutes are going to be the most trying for IG. Can they avoid this?
Oh, NewBee already trying to force in the bottom lane. Super's making a walk out, so you may actually lose the Crystal Maiden at this point.
That is an acceptable casualty.
She's running back. She's definitely running back. Everyone's missing. There are observer wards on the northern side of the map from IG Vitality. Don't see anything. The quick hex, the stuns. July jumps down. The ulti is down. But, well, you lose the Juggernaut so quickly. No buyback available. He's down for 90 seconds. He bought the Butterfly with Keeper of the Light dropping. And Sakata finding enough damage as well. He's going to steal that intel, giving him a lot of power. Sandy's Eclipse is available. NewBee have to give this respect. So Monkey King will buy back. He doesn't have his ultimate available, but SC jumps in deeper. The Shrine will be triggered. Super with the control. They'll break free. Super keeps that slow going. Sakata needs to keep the kiting going as well. Super, Glimmer Cape up. They can't see him. They can't kill him. Heal back up and get back to front lines. The OD ulti will pop. And will they actually get anything apart from the Aegis? The Immortal has heavy damage onto SC, but the problem is the Hex up OD, the Pike, it doesn't get him back inside the base. U9 trying to force the issue, but now he's imprisoned up as well. Right in front of the fountain, they still haven't claimed the Rax. The Flame Break pushing in U9 closer. He'll move back, remember the objective, base gaming. But OD must be ready to hit like a truck. I think it's 72 intelligence he's currently buffed up on. So he will hit hard if they can only keep that control there. But KP looks for his own control with the Hoof Stomp. Glimmer Cape, again, they don't see the target. Now they will with the Gem of True Sight moving forward from the Keeper of the Light. Sakata will fall. There's no buyback. 100 seconds without him. That may be the game right there. And in fact, it is. NewBee will take it. IG Vitality, 1 game down in the first, but NewBee looking pretty damn good here in the first game of this 2-game series, taking just over 50 minutes.
The two opening heroes from NewBee or AC Strong Centaur was just a constant issue the entire game. Keeper had that Hex too that was able to secure that final kill on the OD before he could pop his BKB.
And it just works so damn well from NewBee. And of course, you would expect it with a lineup with what they had. Kind of wondered, like, where was the Monkey King? Where were the supports coming in from IG
Where
Vitality?
were the Roche contests? They contested Roche on number 4, and that's 4 too late.
Well, that's the question we get to have.
Late.
I would love to see what the analysts actually thought of that game. Their first time seeing Monkey King, was it a success? Was it fail? Or was it something else?
Yeah, that's a good question. Many good questions as well. Thank you, Toby and Melina. We will, of course, come back to our commentary team for Game 2 in this 2-game series. 1 point on the board for NewBee, though. Let's rejoin Peter and Kevin. Kevin, we'll start with you. First off, Monkey King finally is on the board. We've seen a little bit. What did you make? Was it a difficult game to assess too much, wasn't it?
I think it's pretty. We have this pillow actually that's really going to cover exactly what Monkey King did, and it's mostly just stand on trees the whole time.
Yeah, there was a lot of that.
He didn't get a lot of farm. He did get some decent early rotations. I think his roaming is all right, but when you compare it to what a Coddle's doing, which is getting like 5 creep waves every like 30 seconds plus neutrals in the meantime, obviously at the late game having a Hex and not having a Hex is a big difference. And even when he got his ultis off, I didn't see much Bash coming through. He just didn't feel that
quite
impactful.
Late as well. I was watching the game with Fogged, and he made the remark that just seemed like NewBee weren't scared of him. You know, they knew where he was. They knew that he had vision. He didn't really care too much, and they just sort of bypassed him and just left him doing whatever he needed to do.
I'm sure a lot of that was Coddle as well, 'cause during daytime you always see if he's coming, so it makes him less scary.
Peter, what do you think?
They definitely had a lot of tools to kind of deal with him, and I think once they got the Coddle Ags, they like in the beginning of the game they were like a little bit careful about him, and you saw Venge like throwing out the tears, like trying to keep track of him. But like once he got Ags on Coddle, they just didn't really care about the hero at all, and he was incredibly underwhelming. He went like first item Basher, so he didn't really like farm anything else, and the hero just did not work. But Kaka on the Coddle was like killing it.
Yeah, absolutely. This was early in the game when the Monkey King was actually relatively effective, but also at this point, I think this is one of the key points where NewBee was just like, "Yep, we know you're in the trees, we know you're there, but we don't care."
Yeah, just didn't really matter. They had the right tools to really deal with a lot of the cores on IG as well. The having Venge to cover Jug Spin TP was crucial, like 3 times. Allowed them to actually pressure the Jug early. In the late game, OD was a little bit ineffective against heroes like Coddle. Blinding Light is tough because he doesn't buy MKB. He sometimes gets BKB, but maybe late. Having Ursa kind of covered all the cores. I just feel like NewBee's draft really covered a lot of the issues they had against IG with their picks. They definitely had some early mid-game issues that Peter pointed out to me. What would you say? NewBee had issues pushing towers, basically, right?
Yeah, I wasn't like honestly like watching this game and watching how it kind of played out. It seemed like both the drafts were kind of missing a little something. NewBee was really lacking kind of like tower push, even though they kind of had like a split push lineup. And then IGV was just kind of lacking some lockdown for like the Ember Spirit specifically, as well as the Centaur. And especially like I think Batrider was like very, very ineffective this game.
Yeah.
Not only did we have the Venge swap, but we had Lincoln's on Ember Spirit, Centaur ult to kind of stop any damage from happening. And then there was a couple times where this Batrider, you know, he just lassoed Ursa and Ursa just ulted it off, and that was the end of Batrider's contribution.
Yeah.
Whereas like on NewBee we saw like 4 very farmed heroes that had very high impact. On IG it was really only 2, and Crystal Maiden and Monkey King didn't really do a lot to help enable the Juggernaut and OD. So just a more kind of collective team effort from NewBee, especially as the game progressed, and we saw more heroes with more items contributing more in team fights.
Definitely a better late game from NewBee as well, wasn't it? I mean, you mentioned that sort of seemed early on we didn't really know which team had the advantage, or they seemed to be missing something, and I suppose up to about 30 minutes it could have gone either way really, and NewBee just started to edge forward and then lose a big team fight, and then you think, well, okay, maybe it can go the other way, but it seemed from that team fight onwards, actually until this point, it seemed that NewBee were in control suddenly. They'd found that edge. What was the difference late game?
I think initiations were a lot. They have a lot of stuns. Centaur stomps. I mean, you can dodge Centaur stomps with BKBs and stuff, but he just kept getting like 1-2-man stuns on important heroes, and there was always damage to back him up afterwards, whether that was Ursa hitting or Ember Spirit. Both of those guys actually had huge teamfight impact. So with the disables coming from Centaur and Venge and Coddle, and then like 3 different damage dealers, it was a little bit too hard for IG Vitality to take fights, whereas everything was about either Jug or OD. And if one of those guys gets picked off at the start, they lose fights every time.
Yeah, we saw OD really kind of pull out some great team fights. There was one where in kind of the dire jungle near where the bounty rune spawns that this OD kind of came back in and got like a triple kill or something, and it was a huge team fight for them. But then when we saw NewBee kind of initiate a team fight, they initiated on OD, and OD, instead of kind of doing damage and fighting, he's more so focused on kind of saving himself. All of a sudden, they don't really have enough firepower to deal with NewBee at all.
That was a great example of that as well, wasn't it, Peter? That particular fight there where they isolated the OD on the outside of the fight.
Yeah, he's on
Wouldn't
the
let
run.
him come back in ever.
In the team fights that they won, that Sanity's Eclipse is like, killing 2 heroes or, damaging a third. And, yeah, they just didn't have enough in the late game for sure. Centaur is quite the hero. He's tough to deal with.
Still tough to deal with, despite the nerfs.
And the nerfs
Continued
were small.
nerfs.
Look how farmed he was compared to Batrider. It's not even close.
Yeah.
So
Another big game for him. So do you think we'll see another nerf on him? Is it just going to
think
keep
it's
doing
possible. I think first thing they'll probably do is, at the very least, reduce his talents a little bit. Like the level 10, they'll probably drop it to like 25 damage or something like that.
Right.
But maybe